So you just got your car ceramic coated and you're wondering how to wash it and how often to wash it. Today, I'm gonna go over how to wash a vehicle with you and how to maintain your ceramic coating to make it last with the maximum benefits you can get from it. So there are many ways to wash a car, but I'm gonna show you how I wash cars, and that doesn't necessarily mean the way I do it means that other ways of doing it are wrong. So what you're gonna need is fairly simple, and this is pretty much it. You'll need a pressure washer. You know, here's the wand to show you there's a pressure washer. An all-purpose cleaner. This is an alkaline wheel cleaner. This is an acidic wheel cleaner. Car soap, foam cannon, microfiber wash mitt, and a bucket. Let's get started. So something to keep in mind when it comes to contact washing, which is what we are doing because we're making contact with the vehicle, is I like to use a ton of lubrication, no pun intended. So I'm gonna put as much soap in there as my heart desires, and then I'm gonna fill it with some water. And we're just gonna fill this bucket until it's about, I don't know, a third to a halfway full. And that should be good for me. And now you might be wondering, Vincent, why in the world would I have a bucket full of soap and water if I have a foam cannon? And the answer is simple. I already said it. I like a lot of lubrication. So we're gonna give ourselves some suds. And before we get started, I'll go into how much soap I normally like to put inside the foam cannon. So a good rule of thumb when it comes to your foam cannon is it's a 1:9 ratio. So like 1 part soap, 9 parts water. As I keep saying, I like a lot of soap, so I put in probably about, I don't know, a third? No. Maybe a fourth of soap and then 3/4 water. That's just my rule of thumb. Again, that's just how I do things. So let's get into it. So if you hear anything in the background, it's the train, which I could throw a softball at the conductor right now if I absolutely wanted to, which I'm not going to. I'm just saying that's how close it is. So if you hear anything in the background and hear me having to yell in order to compensate because it's right there and they're doing whatever, God knows what, that's why. But again, without further ado, let's dive back into it. So when it comes to washing your vehicle, the first thing you're gonna wanna do is rinse off all the debris. So you just start by getting off all the dirt, pollen, whatever the hell. Get it all off. And you're gonna do this step before doing anything, because the last thing you wanna do is wash your car with a bunch of debris on it, essentially rubbing that debris into your clear coat, causing micro scratches, and it's just a less efficient way of doing things. Don't forget to do under your wheel wells, tires, wheels. So we're gonna go towards the back, and a good rule of thumb is because of aerodynamics, a lot of debris, brake dust, most of the dirt you will see on the car will be on the back end of the vehicle. So rinsing off back here, especially in crooks and crevices, like underneath where the tailgate handle is extremely important when it comes to this pre-rinse. Then you just work your way down. Keep moving along. Gonna hit the roof. I should have hit the roof earlier, but hey, it's okay. No one's perfect. I'll hit the other side again real quick just to get that debris off of there. Gonna hit that other side real quick just to kind of show that it actually went back. Doesn't need to be as in-depth as the first time, but just enough to get all the stuff from the roof off. All right. So throughout the duration of this video, I'm gonna be saying some random things, but it all goes within the key context of what we're talking about. So try to stay with me if you can. So if you notice, we're in the shade. It is sunny outside, but we are in the shade. The best times of day to wash your vehicle are either before the sun comes up or right after sunset, or like right as the sun's going down. You want to avoid doing it in direct sunlight. And that is because, realistically speaking, most people do not have water filtration systems at their houses in order to prevent water spotting. Which means if I was at my house or whatever, and I was cleaning my vehicle and I let the sun evaporate all these water spots, like all the water, I'd be left with a ton of water spots. So when you're in a setting that is at your house or not where you have filtered water, how the hell are you going to prevent water spots? I'll show you how, and I'll tell you how. And what you do is you be mindful. Throughout the duration of the wash, if you notice, oh damn, I haven't been at this part in a while, you literally just mist it down real quick. Prevent evaporation. That is what you do. If you could prevent the water from evaporating, you will lessen your chances of getting water spots while you're washing it when you have unfiltered water. So that is that, and with this being said, we're gonna move on to the next portion of the wash. Okay, so this is how I do things. I like to get my all-purpose cleaner and get my wheel wells and my front end. And here's the thing, they do have, a lot of companies have specific bug removers, and you can use those, they work great, they're very safe. I use them a lot. Today I'm just gonna be using some all-purpose cleaner because it works. So what I like to do is I'll get in the wheel wells with the all-purpose cleaner, and we're gonna go over the wheel wells, and notice how I'm spraying down here too. A lot of stuff gets kicked up, and if I can loosen that before my contact wash, that's exactly what I want, which is what we're doing. So I'm gonna go back here, and I'm actually gonna pop that gas cap. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. I'll probably end up detailing that by hand later. Sometimes you can, spray in there and pressure wash that too, but that one's not bad. So I'm just gonna do that by hand later. But I am spraying the crap out of these wheel wells and what's underneath. And we're gonna go to the driver's side, do the same thing. And notice how I'm doing the wheel wells first before doing the front end. And that's because when you're doing bugs on the front end, you don't want it to linger as much. Just because, well, one, it's on the paint, and two, it's probably not gonna be as bad as what's in your wheel wells because those have dirt getting kicked up in them all the time. Whereas your front end, there's more dirt in the world than, there's more dirt in the world than bugs that exist. You know what I mean? So there's gonna be more dirt in your wheel wells than bugs on your front end. All right, so now that we're here, we're just gonna spray our front end. I don't really see a whole lot of bugs, but some key places they like to hide are in the grill. These fog lights, oh my goodness, I don't know what it is, but they just attach to those things. Headlights, grill, front of hood area. And then another few places that they really like to hide are the mirrors. These A-pillars, but on the inside of it. So I like to spray that too. Up here, where the roof begins. And we're gonna spray the other side too. When you hit these areas, that is where bugs like to hide the most. And that's why I like to spray those areas. So, as I said, I don't like to let the bug remover all-purpose cleaner linger on the front end or on the painted areas very much, so I'm gonna start spraying that off. I usually, rule of thumb, give it about 20 or 30 seconds before I start spraying it off. But I'm just gonna start at the top. Not gonna get too close to the pressure washer, but just enough. Because you don't wanna put yourself in a situation where you're damaging anything with the pressure washer. I think this pressure washer is 1700 PSI. And, you know, which obviously if it was like a 4,000 PSI pressure washer, I would be significantly, you know, further away than I am right now. So that's just something to keep in mind is, you know, the amount of PSI your pressure washer has and how close you are with it and how comfortable you are with how close you are. So yeah, I'm gonna get that off the mirror, get that off of here, out of there. Awesome. Gonna get all that all-purpose cleaner off the window. Out of there. Awesome. Now we can go to our wheel wells. Really spray those areas. Yeah, there's quite a bit back there actually. I'm surprised. All right, and even though we're in the shade, I'm just gonna mist it down for demonstration purposes because as I said, we want to prevent evaporation. As much as I wish I could prevent train sounds sometimes. Are we recording?
We are recording.
Awesome. Include that, please. It looks like we have a moment of silence, but now there's a gust of whatever the hell coming this way. Whatever. All right, so the next thing we're going towards are the wheels. And there are a lot of like videos online with people scrubbing the living daylights out of wheels, using iron removers. I'm gonna tell you something. With 10 years experience, I don't like dealing with wheels, and I like to do it simply as possible, meaning as little contact as possible. So I'm gonna show you how to do that and do it safely. I like using a mixture between a mild wheel acid and an alkaline wheel cleaner. And that's what I showed you earlier. Now I'm gonna show you how to use it. So here is a mild wheel acid. And since we've already rinsed down the wheel, what we're gonna do, and also what I'm gonna tell you before getting started is when it comes to like raw aluminum surfaces, do not use either of these. You're gonna want to like scrub the wheel. You're not gonna want to use these chemicals. These chemicals are for painted surfaces. You're not supposed to let it linger. Do not use it in direct sunlight. Use it on a hot surface. Like there are a lot of things to take into consideration before using these chemicals. So please be careful because you can mess some things up. So with that being said, let me show you how to use it safely. So we know that there are painted areas right here, which means more than likely there's clear coat over this polished surface. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna get in the wheel well first with the acid. And I like to really just fan out my cleaner and not breathe it in because it'll kill you. And I don't let it linger at all. You rinse it off immediately. Get that stuff out of there. And after getting that off, I like to go through with the alkaline wheel cleaner and neutralize the surface. And again, no linger time. I take it off immediately. And the cool thing is if you want to come over here, you'll actually see, yeah, that's beautiful. There's nothing on my glove. Great, cool. So we're gonna do the same thing to all the other wheels. Again, start with the spot remover in a fanning motion. Don't let it dwindle. Don't let it dwell, I should say. Rinse it off, rinse it all off. We're going through with our alkaline wheel cleaner to neutralize the surface again. Getting that wheel well. And again, no time. Take that off. All right, on to our last wheel. You can also do this with your brake calipers and just kind of like hit them as you go. It'll work the same. I gotta switch hands. I guess rock climbing isn't helping my grip strength as much as I thought. All right, again, neutralize the surface. Yep, try not to breathe these things in because, you know, they're really harsh chemicals, but hey. All right, and our wheels are finished. All right, so now we're just gonna get into our contact wash, which is pretty straightforward. We're gonna put our foam cannon on, and we're gonna start, you know, foam cannoning. I like to start at the bottom and work my way up for no in particular reason. Even though we washed the wheels, I still want to get the wheels in the wheel wells. Just makes me feel like we're getting more off. Get the roof, all the glass, the mirrors, and that's something else. Inside the mirror too, that's important. All right, we're gonna work our way towards the back. Really just get everything soapy as we can get it. All right, so we got our bucket, we got our water, we got our soap, we got our microfiber wash mitt. So what we're gonna do is put our windshield wipers up, starting with the driver's side, just so we don't potentially, you know, make them cross and hit or whatever. There we go. All right, so when it comes to actually washing the vehicle, you wanna start with the top and work your way down. And that is pretty much because most of your dirt and stuff's gonna be down here. So if I put the microfiber wash mitt down there and I, you know, hit it and then start up, I am now washing this surface with all that dirt, and we don't want that. So I'm gonna just hop up here. I would highly suggest using a ladder or some kind of step stool. Please keep in mind that I have been doing this for a long time. And yeah, so I'm gonna hit these. And one other thing I kind of do, and I'll wipe down the door jambs and the interior later, is just kind of get up here to get this, come down, hit my front windshield. And sometimes the front windshield need a little more attention, just because, you know, bugs and stuff. So we're gonna dip our microfiber wash mitt into our soapy water. Just kind of fluff it around to get all the stuff off and get a bunch of nice clean water in there. Go over to the other side of the roof. As I said, I will wipe down where my feet are on the interior and the door jambs at a later point in time. Just not this exact point in time that I'm being recorded. Awesome, we got that. Okay, so I'm gonna rinse out my microfiber again. And I'm just gonna kind of start where my heart desires, which is right here. Get the windows. Notice how everything is super wet, super slippery, super lubricated. Yes, insert thousands of innuendos here, but we're not, because we are professionals today. So, don't forget to get your mirror, even underneath your mirror, which is a big deal. I'm gonna get the fender before I work my way to the door. Notice how I'm not going below here yet because of the whole dirt thing I just described. All right, now we can work the bottom parts of the door before working our way to the vinyl. And instead of stopping right here, notice how I'm going slightly like more underneath the car. What a lot of people miss is, you know, they'll do this where it's visible when you're standing far away from it, but the actual like underside right here will be dirty. So notice how I'm going a little more underneath there to really get all that off. And another trick you can do, and the things a lot of people miss, is this area right here on the fender flare. Whether it's a vinyl fender flare or like a painted surface, a lot of people miss this right here. So instead of just stopping like right here, you can actually get in there a little bit And this car's really not that dirty, so I can't really show too much, but notice how I'm just like really get in there. Whew. And then after doing all that, I rinse the microfiber wash mitt out again and go to the next place that my heart desires, which at this point is the back hatch. Wonder if that'll stay up. Nope. It's all good. That's fine. And remember, underneath where this handle area is on these hatchbacks is important. Don't want to have dirty nails opening your hatch all the time, you know what I mean? So we're going to do all these painted surfaces first. Okay, go back to these areas. And again, I'm like basically underneath the car right now. All right, that's good. Moving on to the next place. Really sloshing that around. You can use a grit guard. Honestly, I just sloshed the freaking crap out of my microfiber inside the bucket, kind of in like this fashion. Just continuously, almost like a washing machine, but like by hand, to get all my dirt out before I start on the next section. Again, do about half our doors. Go to the fender. All right, bottom half of doors. Now we can go to these areas. How you like that stance? That's not for show. All right. Do you need to hit right here real quick? Oops. Hit the hood. Hit the front bumper. Even though we already used the cleaner for the front bumper, it is really important that we go behind and use a contact wash, because some bugs are stubborn. They don't always come off all the way. A couple of different variables. So you really just want to kind of get in there, look around, see what's there, because out of all the debris that will hit your car, it's the acidity inside the bug guts that will eat away at your front end faster and potentially a lot more harmful than most other things. So like tree sap can do that, you know, bird droppings can do that too. But when it comes to bugs, like they're the reason why most people need their front end like repainted. So keep that in mind. Oh, baby. Now we're gonna rinse down. And, you know, with the rinse down, I start with the top. Don't forget to rinse out, I don't even know what this part is called. The windshield wiper assembly area. I don't know the official term for it, but rinse that part out. And it's important to rinse that part out because you'll get a bunch of leaves, sticks, just a bunch of stuff in there. You'll have this clean car with like a twig in your, like by your windshield wipers, and it's like, oh, okay, well my car's clean, but you know, nature's always with me, you know what I mean? We'll rinse down our wheel wells again, our wheels again, get all that stuff off of there. Yeah, those wheels look really good. If you have places that are like heavy in crevice, like this, rinse that out real well. Here's another place with a bunch of crevices. I like to rinse that out. There's always a bunch of stuff that lingers in there. Your emblems, same thing. Sorry, brother. And I think it's worth mentioning, for me making a demonstrated video on how to wash a car with a ceramic coating, to say that this car is actually not ceramic coated. We are prepping it for a ceramic coat, and this is just a demonstration on how to maintain it after we coat it. The same things I'm showing you will apply whether or not your car is ceramic coated. So if you look at the video and see that there aren't very impressive hydrophobic properties, that's because this is actually about to get ceramic coated, and we're just showing you how to maintain it after it's ceramic coated. So, just gonna throw that out there. Okay, so there are a couple ways you can dry down your car after you wash it. I like to use, my favorite method is just using microfiber towels. You can use air, but like using air in your car is like using air on your hands after using the restroom. Like I mean, it works, it's just, I don't know, you know what I mean? If you want to make it as contactless of a wash as possible, then yes, absolutely use air and follow up with microfiber towels where air did not really get to. However, my preference and how I'm gonna show my customers to do this is get yourself 2 microfiber towels for the paint and windows, and get another 2 microfiber towels for the wheels. And yeah, let's get started. So I'm gonna start with the hood, and I'm gonna use the first microfiber towel to just, you know, get off all the bulk. And after getting the bulk off, I'm gonna follow it up with the other microfiber towel, and that's literally how you do it. That's how you do the entire car. So I'm going to reach with the short amount of reach that I have on my stature. And I'm gonna do the same thing here. And we're just gonna continue this cycle until the car's dry. So here's a demonstration that I like to do. You just kind of use a nice wrist motion with your first towel. And now you got a bunch of water streaks. You want to get those up with the other microfiber towel. Go around your perimeters, go around any little key details, and you're done. Car's dry. Congratulations. You have acquired dry car. Achievement unlocked. Use a real wet one to get all in the intricacies of the front end. Again, follow up. I just want to point out that now that the tutorial is coming to an end, the train finally stops and there's no noise, and I just think that's incredible. But hey, things happen that we can't control, and when life gives you lemons, never mind. There's a video called Power Thirst. It's an old video, some college students made it, and it said, when God gives you lemons, you find a new God. And that's the reference I was about to make. But I don't recommend that. It's just a funny saying. Anyway, back to washing cars. I guess drying down the car. But for real, if you haven't seen the Power Thirst video and that's your kind of humor, I would definitely recommend checking it out because it's hilarious, even 15 years later. So if this wet rag gets a little too wet, you just wring it out. Put your purse into it, you know what I mean? And something that a lot of people miss, again, is underneath their mirrors and actually inside their mirrors. And this is where air would come in handy because like all these suds and stuff that are hard to get to, that's when you could just blow that out and then use the microfibers. But getting that area and also the door handle itself underneath it. A lot of people miss that too. They'll have, you know, this dry car and there's still spots underneath their door handle. And guess what happens underneath your door handle? You can get water spotting, believe it or not, and it sucks. Well, I guess it doesn't suck that bad, but I mean, it's not ideal, you know what I mean? So we're just gonna keep up this trend right here and there. That's something that needs to be corrected. Awesome, awesome. And you know, if we were in direct sunlight, if we were not in the shade, I would say dry the roof down first. But honestly, like we're in the shade, the chances, and with the temperature it is, I think it's like 70 degrees right now. The chances of the water evaporating on the surface in any like reasonable amount of time is low. If you find any stragglers in your microfiber, get them out. They do come out of crevices sometimes because you don't want to scratch your surface with a leaf or, again, a twig or anything of that nature. So we're just going to keep at it now that we don't have a leaf in our microfiber. Cool, cool. Okay. If they're doing your windshield, you can also get where the windshield wipers are. That scared me to death. There is a, the vinyl literally has a gecko in it, and I thought there was a lizard just staring at me in my soul. It scared the hell out of me. All right, gonna go over and try this little part down before we hit the roof. Dude, do you see that gecko imprint? It scared me to death. There are no real special parts about the roof, honestly. Just like if you're in the sun, this will evaporate first So try to be mindful, you know, keep it wet, you know, avoid evaporation. Other than that, that's really it. Oh, I guess this is worth mentioning. I guess also because of aerodynamics and stuff, when it comes to debris, the roof can also have not as much loose dirt, but dirt and brake dust really like to embed themselves into rooftops. And I think that's because of the expansion and contraction when the roof gets hot, you know, clear coat and everything in the universe expands, and then when it cools down, it contracts again. So when you have dirt on the surface and there's expansion, it can actually embed itself into the clear coat a lot easier because of that malleability. So when it cools down, it goes into the surface. So where rooftops don't necessarily get dirtier, they have the potential to have a lot more contamination embedded into them because of that. So that's something to keep in mind. Oh, baby. Now we can move on to our wheels. Same concept. Honestly, I kind of just like to use the rag I was using for my follow-up on the paint and windows as my wet rag on the wheels, and then follow it up with the other one. So when it comes to wheels, and I just made this is a rookie mistake for demonstration purposes, but you see how I'm holding it and you see like how close I am to the ground. We don't want that because the ground has, well, what the ground has. And the ground has rocks, dirt, all types of abrasive stuff that we don't want touching. So if you can tuck your rag into your hand like that, make it like, you know, caress it a little bit, you know what I mean? If you caress the rag a little bit, you can get down here without anything touching the ground. Because if you touch the ground and then move your rag and then start doing stuff, you're gonna scratch the surface and you're gonna be like, oh no, where did this come from? How could this have happened? You can get really crazy with it and get inside the wheel wells and do that, but you know, you don't necessarily have to. But in this case, one thing you can do is just kind of like put that in there and then just finesse your hands around. It'll get real tight near the caliper. Yeah, as I said, it'll get tight. So, like, you can just pull it out. You can readjust it anytime you want. But if you, or you can even just, you know, turn the freaking car, you know, I mean, move the car, turn the wheel. And that's probably what I'll end up doing. But one thing to keep in mind is when you go in and out with a rag or anything else on your barrels of your wheel, so you have the barrel of your wheel, which is the inside, and then the face of your wheel. Sometimes when you're like doing stuff with the barrel, usually there's a lot more brake dust and stuff inside the barrel, and when it's coming out, it can scrape against here and make your wheel dirty again. So just keep that in mind and go around from your entry and exit points with, you know, a microfiber to, you know, take care of that. But anyway, that's how you dry down your wheel. And this is also where air would really come in handy, is these lug nut areas, because a ton of water is just like stuck in there. So like air would really help that, but you can't, if you really want to get carried away with it, you can just shove your microfiber in there, let it, you know, let it soak up that water a little bit, and then move on with your life. But again, what I'm gonna do is go back in the wheel well. And what you'll notice is when I'm in there, I am putting pressure on the back of my hand. So like it kind of looks like this. I'm putting, like, I'm like, you know, anyway, so I'm like putting pressure on the back of my hand and I am just gliding it across. And that has been the easiest way. But you could also use like the, you know, your open palm and your fingertips, but for like consistent pressure, consistent, you know, everything, that's kind of what I use. And the brake calipers in the rears are typically not as tight as the brake calipers in the fronts. And that is also something, you know, to pay attention to. So as I said, you can get streaks from pulling it out from your entry points and your exit points. And if you just take care of those real quick, your wheel is good to go. You can also dry down your tires. I just kind of wait for my tires to dry because, like, You know, water spot removal on tires is not a thing. Notice how when I got to the bottom, I started caressing it again. And I'm not really like scrubbing the inside of the barrels. I'm literally just drying it down. And there's my exit point. Clean my exit point, clean my entry point. And we're golden over here. And this wheel pretty much already evaporated. So we're just gonna use our wet rag to make it re-wet and get any kind of potential streaking off of there from our soap or anything else. Get back in there. As I said, it's a lot tighter in the front than it is in the back, so I can't really fit my whole hand in there. But as I said, I'm just drying. And this is also where air would come in handy. I do have air. I'm just demonstrating for this. There are a couple more questions I didn't go over that people ask me frequently. And one of those things is, can I wax my vehicle? Can I spray wax my vehicle? Can I use a ceramic spray after I get my car ceramic coated? And the answer is absolutely. Yes, you can. My professional opinion, if you're waxing your vehicle after getting a ceramic coating, you are wasting your time and money and effort, because it is a lot of effort to wax a car, especially with, like, you know, the technology we have nowadays. 2, can you spray wax your vehicle? Yes, and I recommend doing it. Spray waxing has very similar silicas in it silicones and, you know, other properties in it that a lot of the ceramic sprays have. So you're getting similar-ish protection with it. The ceramic sprays are absolutely kind of what you want to use when it comes to maintaining your vehicle. And people ask me all the time, how often should I do it? And that's up to preference, but as a professional, I should tell you at least every like 3 to 4 months, 6 months at the most. Personally, my vehicles, when I ceramic coat them, I do it every other wash. And there are different ways to apply, install, however you want to word it, different types of spray coatings and different types of like spray waxes. So like there's no one right way to do it. Just follow the manufacturer's instructions and you'll be good to go. As far as how often you should wash the car, I would recommend at least once every 2 weeks. I think the ideal situation in a perfect world would be once a week, just to get everything off. Don't give anything really the chance to sink into your car. Stay up to date with it. Once every 2 weeks is realistic. Once every week is ideal. There are people who will go like 2 or 3 months without washing their car, and they're like, oh man, like, you know, the ceramic doesn't work as much as it did. And, you know, they haven't washed the car in like 6 or 7 months. And it's like, well, I mean, you've given all of this dirt and you've given all of these water spots and mineral deposits, all these chances to cause problems, and they're causing problems. So keep that in mind. The performance of the ceramic coating is 100% based off of your maintenance plan, your execution of maintenance, and how often and how well you maintain your vehicle. So please keep that in mind. The ceramic coating is not an end-all be-all to not having a clean car. It is a tool to help you maintain your vehicle easier and have your car look damn good while you're maintaining it and while you own it. The third thing, the question I am asked the most, actually, other than what I just went over, is what kind of soap should I use? And honestly, any kind of pH neutral car soap. Some people use Dawn dish soap. I don't recommend doing that for your car, especially if it's ceramic coated. I would just, you know, not use dish soap. Any pH neutral car soap, it can be cheap, it can be expensive, doesn't matter. If it works, it freaking works. Just make sure it's pH neutral and make sure it's car soap and you're good to go. Other than that, I can't really think of anything else to go over right now. Obviously, if there are any questions you have or anything that you want to know, you can comment on this video and ask them, and I have no problem answering them. But that's pretty much just what's off the top of my head right now and what most of my customers have been asking me lately. And this video is for them so that, you know, I don't I don't have the same conversation over and over and potentially forget all of this information having the conversation so many times. You see what I'm saying? So this video is going to be a rule of thumb for my customers, and this is how you maintain your vehicle when it has a ceramic coating. Thank you so much for watching, even though there was a train in the background.